The power of the internet. That is going to be the topic of this episode of Qi Life. Alright, so following along from the last vlog, which was about celebration as a form of gratitude, and recognizing that by celebrating, we're acknowledging good things and sending more energy to them, which can then lead us on to other good things and even greater success, a richer experience of life. This vlog, I am going to celebrate the power of the internet. Now, partly my inspiration for this topic actually came from just a couple of days ago. I'm now in Montenegro, and the very first day, well, the first day that I arrived, it was nighttime, so I didn't do too much that night. I went to where I was staying and slept. But then the very next day, I got up, I went and did some Qigong practice. That was really good. And then I finished my Qigong practice right around the time that some of the shops started to open. And the first thing that I did on the way back from my Qigong practice was I went and I got a SIM card for my phone. And the main reason for me to have that SIM card was so that I could have a data connection for the internet. And as I was talking to my assistant, Tihana, later on that day, I was talking about this and said, you know, it's pretty much the first thing I try to do wherever I go is get an internet connection, and often that means getting a SIM card for my phone. Because with the internet, there's not much you can't solve. You know, and that can range from directions of how to get somewhere, accessing your bank accounts, looking up instructions for how to cook something, whatever it might be. If you've got an internet connection, you can solve just about anything. Without an internet connection, there are certainly ways you can do things, but often a lot of things get slower and a lot harder and are gonna, really slow down your ability to do things. And so this is a common thing for lots of travelers. Wherever you go, get an internet connection. It's going to solve a lot of your problems, or allow you to solve your problems through using the internet. Thinking about this more broadly, well, I mean, the power of the internet affects all of us in all of our lives in many positive ways. I think sometimes we can get caught up a little bit in thinking of the negative ways that the internet can affect us. But it's largely up to us how we choose to use the internet and whether we use it in ways that are positive for us or negative for us. And we can sometimes overlook and look past how amazing it is and how much comes into our lives from the internet. Now, applying this specifically to Qigong, as I do generally within these vlogs, I remember back when I first started studying Qigong, certainly where I lived in the world, which was New Zealand, and I think this applies to most parts of the world at that time, it was very hard to find almost any Qigong being taught anywhere. And so you had to really search to find something, and I was fortunate that I found a good, knowledgeable teacher to learn from. But for many, many people, that just wasn't an option back then. Having completed my training, as I started to work in clinical practice and eventually went on to do some teaching as well. And I started, I set up my own website, and I was also involved with a professional association for Chinese medicine and Qigong. I would start to, through the internet, through email, I would start to receive inquiries from people saying, look, I'm interested in Qigong, I've heard about it, they've found out whatever they could about it, but I don't know where I can learn. And they would ask me, do I know any teachers in wherever it was they lived, whether that was somewhere else in New Zealand, another city, not the one that I lived in, or somewhere else in the world. And I'd get these emails, both through my own website and also through the professional association, which I was serving as the secretary and registrar for. And most of the time, I just had to say, no, sorry, I don't know anyone teaching near you, best of luck. And that inspired me at that point to start to make my first Qigong videos, which I put online. Because I thought, well, if they don't have a teacher near them, at least they can follow along with this video and they can start to do a little bit of Qigong. And those were the very first videos I put up on YouTube quite a few years ago at this point. From that, as I thought more about this and, I started to get some positive feedback from those videos, I realized, you know what? The internet can be used in an even more powerful way than this, than just giving people videos to follow along with. I could also use this to teach people in a more in-depth way. And by doing that, I could empower them to actually share Qigong with other people in their area. So for someone who was looking around and couldn't find a Qigong teacher, they could learn and become that Qigong teacher in their area. And so I developed what I offered online more. I fleshed it out. Instead of being just a few videos of practices, I started to develop more comprehensive courses, which went into the underlying principles and theories behind the practices. And little by little developed a syllabus and a way for people to engage and get regular feedback and also be assessed on their knowledge and their ability to do the practice. And this was all really just starting to become possible through the internet. Because of course we could have videos that people could watch, I could have written material that they could read, we could email back and forth, but it was also starting to become easier and easier to video call back and forth and talk to each other in real time, and for me to actually watch them doing things or for them to watch me doing things to help clarify their understanding of different practices. And that seems like an obvious thing now, that of course you can do that, but not that many years ago, that was, in a way, it was almost kind of quite radical thinking, because people weren't used to using the internet in that way. And there was this way of thinking that, oh, there's no way you could possibly learn an art like Qigong online. Surely you have to do it in person. Now, this is not to say that there's not value in learning in person. There really is. There's a lot of value in the personal interconnection that you can develop in that way. Particularly if you're in a group, the group dynamics that can be involved in that. But so much of what goes into effective teaching and learning, we can now do through the internet very, very effectively. So much so that I would say there are even additional benefits to learning online beyond what you might commonly experience learning in person. And a lot of this goes to how easy it is to refer back to what the materials you're learning from on the internet, often in a live setting. And again, this depends how it's structured. Someone might be teaching live but have put together really comprehensive study materials for people to work from. But often in a live setting, the reliance is primarily on the live teaching, and there's not necessarily comprehensive support materials. With online learning, your primary learning medium is stuff that needs to be prepared and can be referred back to. So videos that you can watch as many times as you like. Written material you can go back to as many times as you want to. Within those videos that you look at, you can speed them up and slow them down and go back to the bit that you want to watch again really easily. Certainly in the courses, the way that I offer them now, even the sessions that we have, which are live and interactive, where we have Q&A sessions and we discuss and in live in real time with each other. We have group practice sessions where we do the practices together in real time. Even these we record, so that people who, if for some reason you miss a session, it's not a problem, you can catch up with the recording. Or even if you were able to be there live for a session, you're able to come back to that recording and refer back to things that you might want to review again. And so this gives so much flexibility, so much convenience, and makes Qigong accessible to so many more people. And it's amazing. Just not that many years ago, from Qigong being so hard to find in terms of finding good instructions, good materials. Now, on the internet, it's quite easy. You still need to look a little bit, but there's many sources of good information, good teaching that you can use online. And because of this, this is now causing there to be many more good people teaching in their own communities as well. So it has facilitated Qigong becoming available in a live environment as well. And all of this is from the power of the internet, which I think is absolutely amazing. So that is my little vlog for today, celebrating the wonder that is the internet. It's the way that we're connecting right now. It's the way that literally, well, within the Long White Cloud Qigong School, we have over 450 instructors teaching all over the world, and they have then taught, I don't know how many other people, but I'm sure thousands of people have been able to learn from and benefit from Qigong thanks to the power of the internet. So that's my vlog for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on another one soon.